child poverty rate in the United States has dropped substantially since the 1960s, and we owe much of that to policies and programs that benefit children. These are things like refundable tax credits, nutrition assistance programs, and other supports that keep kids out of poverty, provide them with enough to eat, and give them better environments to grow up in. These efforts we've made as a country have improved child health at birth, made a difference in those critical early years of development, increased math and reading scores in middle school, and improved high school completion. They're even connected to better long-term earnings in adulthood. It turns out that when we invest in kids, it's not just good for them, it's good for their communities and for the country. While a lot more research is needed, it's clear that environments that provide warm, sensitive, and enriching interactions offer children a foundation for healthy development. On the other hand, when children experience prolonged and elevated stress responses, there can be negative effects on children's development. As a society, we make important investments in children, but the investments aren't made evenly. Poor children often don't get the same access to things like quality childcare, good schools, and safe neighborhoods that many other children do. And this adds up to environments that aren't as good for kids. The effects that these environments of poverty have on children are costly, and they lead to a less skilled workforce and lost economic productivity. A recent study looked at the economic potential we lose when we don't ensure that all children receive the investments they need. It showed that child poverty costs our country around $1 trillion a year. That's over 5% of the U.S. gross domestic product. In 2019, before the COVID-19 pandemic, the United States was in the midst of one of the longest periods of economic growth on record, and unemployment was very low. Even so, 1 in 8 children in the U.S. was living in poverty. This tells us that our system isn't working the way it should. Building a better system of federal, state, and local policies and programs will provide greater stability for our children and long-term benefits for communities. Recently, Congress commissioned a nonpartisan, evidence-based report on how we could cut the child poverty rate in the U.S. by half. We've accomplished this in the past, and the researchers behind the study say we have the tools to do it again. The study focused on ways we could use smart upgrades to existing programs to make big cuts to child poverty. Let's look at some of these programs and how we could upgrade them to reduce child poverty. SNAP, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is our most effective program for lifting children out of deep poverty. And we've seen that when we increase SNAP budgets, children's health improves right away. It's already an effective program, but we can make it work better by responding to the times when family food budgets are most strained, like when kids are home during the summer, or for families with teenagers. Childcare assistance can offer a dual benefit. It helps with one of the biggest expenses young families face and allows parents to increase their own earnings when they know that their children are safe and cared for while they're at work. We can increase support for these families by making the Child and Dependent Care Tax Credit refundable, so it can help families whose childcare costs are higher than their tax bills. Another program that operates through the tax system is the Child Tax Credit. Making permanent changes to make credit more generous, fully refundable so the amount doesn't go up or down depending on parents' job situations, and offering payments monthly instead of just at tax time can make it more reliable for families. These examples are just a few programs of many in our policy toolkit that can create better environments for children by using what already works and making it better. We have the evidence to show that child poverty can be reduced dramatically, and that doing so will have long-term payoffs for millions of children and for our country.